I'm Anil Kumar, and in these set of videos, we will explore how to state quadratic equations and sketch them. These videos are for grade 10 and 11 students. The axis of symmetry of a parabola that opens upwards is x equals to 2. If one point on the parabola is 4, 4, name another point on the parabola. State the equation of the parabola given that 3 minus 5 is a point on the parabola. So my approach here is to teach you different ways of finding solution to a question. So let me first sketch the parabola. It says axis of symmetry of the parabola that opens upwards is x equals to 2. So let me first sketch a parabola that opens upwards, right? So we'll just sketching a parabola here. This is the parabola which is opening upwards. Now the second statement is that it has axis of symmetry as x equals to 2, right? So that means it should go through this point. So we're just drawing this axis of symmetry. You don't really need a graph paper for most of my equations, right? We'll always work with rough sketches. It is helpful, very flexible, right? That's the major advantage. Now this equation is x equals to 2, right? So every point has x value as 2 here. If one point on the parabola is 4, 4, name another point on the parabola, right? So let us take a point here. Let us say this point is 4, 4, right? Now we have to name another point on the parabola. Why is this question being asked? This is what you should think about. Mainly because we are looking for a mirror image of this point. We are given the axis, so we are looking for a mirror image. So we are looking for this point. So the answer here is y value remaining same, which is 4, and the x value is same distance away from the axis. So axis is 2, so it is 2 away. So 2 away on this side will be, so first you do minus 2 from this value, right? That's the difference. So it is 2 minus 2 as 0. I hope you get the concept. Now the midpoint of 4 and 0 is 2. Do you understand? So axis is the midpoint between the two mirror images. So we get the first solution is name another point on the parabola. And the concept here is that reflection on axis. I hope you understand that point. So we found image point of 4, 4. So we are given 4, 4. We reflected it, right? And we got the point 0, 4. So that is the first solution, right? I hope you understand and appreciate this part. Many times I find the students just write a point, may be correct, but they don't understand why this statement is there in the question. Okay, let's move forward. It says state the equation of the parabola given that 3 minus 5 is a point on parabola. Okay, so there is another point given to us which is 3 minus 5. Minus 5 is way down, right? So let's say this is the point which is 3 minus 5. Now we need to state the equation of the parabola. There are a couple of ways to find the equation. We already have a couple of points. From 3 points we can easily find the equation, right? Now I'll show you one technique which is not being used by most of our students, but it is extremely effective. We use this technique to sketch the graph. So let us see, if I move from 2, say this point is at x equals to 2, x equals to 3 and 4, then what kind of steps we are getting into, right? So let's see the steps. So what you find here is that the first step is not known, but we know the second step, which is 4 minus 5. Second step is 9. Normally, if A is the vertical stretch, then the steps for a parabola are 1, 3, 5, 7 and so on, right? Now in our case, we find that this is the first step and the second step is 9. So a times 3 is basically 9. Do you get the idea? So what we get from here is 3a equals to 9, or a, the vertical stretch is 9 divided by 3, which should be 3. You get the idea. So we basically can get that step. And if a is 3, then what is the first step? If I write a as 3, in that case, I can write my equation a as 3 times 1, 3, 5, 7, and so on. So the first step should also be 3 times 1. So this step should be 3. This is 9. If this step is 3, then what is the vertex? 3 less than minus 5. So I could write this vertex now as 2, and minus 5 minus 3 is minus 8. Do you get the idea? This is slightly more complicated, right? So I'll leave it here for you to think about. If you like, you can adopt this formula. Once we get the vertex, it's easy to get the equation of this graph. From the vertex, let me complete and write down the equation now. So we have y equals to a is 3 for us, opening upwards, positive, makes sense. X minus 2, that is the axis, right? And the y value is minus 8. So that becomes the equation in vertex form if we adopt this method of working. Now, we'll adopt the second method for finding the equation, which is more, I should say, a standard way of finding, okay? So alternate method, or which normally is this was the alternate method, okay? So all this was alternate method, which I wanted to share with my students. Now here is a standard method, right? Normally we begin with standard, go to alternate, but in my case, well, I work in a different way. Okay, now here it is. Standard method is, equation of a parabola in general is y equals to ax squared plus bx plus c. We are given 2 points on it, which is 4, 4, and 3 minus 5. We'll substitute these points and get 2 different equations. If I substitute 4, 4, 4 is x, 4 is y, then I do get here as y as 4, right? So we'll write here as 4 equals to a times 4 square plus 4b plus c, right? And the other point equation is 3 minus 5. So I'll write minus 5 here, and then a times x is 3. So 3 square plus 3b plus c. And since there are 3 unknowns, we'll use the third point, which is also fortunately y-intercept for us. Good point to use. 4, right? This is 4. X is 0. So we get a times 0 square plus b times 0 plus c. So we get the value of c from here, right? So you could solve these 3 equations and find your solution, right? So that is our standard way of doing it, right? So this is standard way. From here, c is equals to 4. This is what c is, right? So you get c equals to 4, and then once you write c equals to 4, you get 2 equations to work with, which you can solve and get the answer, right? Okay, so this is also a good way of doing it. But here is another nice way of doing it, right? So we'll give you another nice way of doing it. So I should say method 3 this time, okay? So we'll use the third method to finally get the equation. Okay, let us try to do it. So we know these 2 points, we know the axis, so it's a good idea to use the vertex form, correct? So we can say, well, we'll use the vertex form this time. Say y equals to a times x minus 2 is my axis. Okay, great. Square plus, let me write here as some value k. Okay, because books use different concept, h and k are common values. So that is my point k. Now, I will use these 2 points because I have two variables, correct? So I need 2 points. So if I use 4 in this equation, what do I get? I get 4 equals to a times 4 minus 2 whole square plus k. I should write k, right? And which is 4 equals to 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 square is 4. So 4a plus k. The second equation will be using 3 and 5. So if I use 3 and 5, 3 is x value, minus 5 is my y value. So minus 5 equals to a times 3 minus 2 whole square plus k, correct? So we have minus 5 equals to a plus k, correct? Now from these two equations, if I take away 2 from 1, let me call this as equation 1, this is equation 2, and if I do 1 minus 2, then what do I get? If I do 1 minus 2, I will get 4 minus 5 equals to 4a minus a, and k minus k is 0. Okay, great. So that is 9 equals to 3a, and that gives me a equals to 3, right? So let me push it a bit. So 9 divided by 3 is a, so a equals to 3. So we get a equals to 3. Once you get a equals to 3, let me call this as equation 3 for us, right? We can always substitute this here and find k. So I'm substituting a as 3 here, so we get minus 5 equals to 3 plus k, and from there minus 5 minus 3, which is 8, with the minus sign equals to k. So we get the value of k also. Well, all this results into our final equation. In this, a is 3 for us and k is minus 8. So what we get is, as expected, y equals to 3 times x minus 2 whole square minus 8. Exactly the same equation which we got earlier. But if you solve these, then you will get equation in standard form also, right? So I'm leaving this for you to complete. But in any case, what we have seen in this particular video is there are many ways of finding equation of a parabola from given conditions. Adopt the method which you really understand and you feel comfortable with, right? All these methods are good methods. So try to understand these methods and explore. I'm Anil Kumar. I hope you understand and appreciate how to work with parabolas. We have many questions to come for you. Thank you and all the best.